What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Your boy who is still on LTIR with the back injury, okay? Thank you guys for all the positive comments, but today we're here to talk about more Leafs roster reconstruction, more rumors, more trade talk. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here permanently. Stick around here on the Andrew Piluk Hockey channel. We have a lot of fun here. Lots of great stuff coming this season. Lots of player previews still on the way, so make sure to stick around. But there's been a few things that have been talked about over the past few days, a few little bits of news, and then there was like this random signing that could have potentially happened about a week ago that I didn't really get a chance to touch on, and it's something that I want to start with, and that is Mark Giordano. Now, apparently, Mark Giordano's agent was talking about how his defenseman services were spoken to about the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and apparently Giordano still wants to play a few more years, and he wants to win a Stanley Cup. Now, of course, this was a little bit before the Maple Leafs got their chance to sign Jani Hakanpää, and they have depth with Philippe Myers, who is probably going to be starting with the Marlies, potentially Connor Timmins, who will be buried with the Marlies or traded or, claimed off waivers, whatever ends up happening there. But I don't believe, unless, barring injury, knock on wood, I don't believe the Leafs will be bringing back Mark Giordano. That's not because I have sources or something. That's just my unprofessional opinion. I wish I could say professional opinion, but look, Mark Giordano was great for the Maple Leafs, and for people that were like, oh, he sucks and whatever thing, you didn't watch every game. There was a large portion of time where Mark Giordano was one of the more stable defensemen in the NHL, but also when he was a part of the Maple Leafs, he was a little bit older and obviously is getting older, but he was actually pretty stable for the team when they needed him to be. When he came over from the Kraken, Gio still had a lot of really good game left in him, and I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Maple Leafs. And, I hope that he gets another contract. I hope it's for more money than he's supposed to get, because he seems like a great guy, seems like a great leader on and off the ice. I mean, the guy was, one of the older guys on the team that would still step in and try to fight for his team. And the Maple Leafs need to learn from that and actually play for their team and play for their brothers. So Mark Giordano hopefully gets another contract. It's just not going to be with the Maple Leafs. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is what the large portion of this video is going to be about, it's a lot of trade talk, and it's kind of inspired after Luke Fox posted a article yesterday talking about, well, yesterday at the time of recording this, talking about how the Maple Leafs are going to have to do some cap wizardry and some cap shenanigans to try to keep this entire team together and try to get these roster spots in order. Now, he mentioned some names, Nick Robertson, Steven Lorentz, Pontus Holmberg, Max Pacioretty, Ryan Reeves, or Connor Dewar, and then mentioned, people in the AHL like Cowan and Minton and, Alex Nylander, Steves, Grebionkin. Again, I always say his name wrong, Grebionkin. Again, we'll learn more of his name as time goes on, but the Maple Leafs have a lot of roster spots that are going to be up for grabs and are going to be fighting for. And what I mean that there's a lot of spots up for grabs is because there's been a lot of talk over the last few days about how the Maple Leafs could shift Nylander to center in order to maximize the winger spots available and to maximize the potential of having a deadly top 9 instead of having, a deadly top 6. They want to have a lot of forward spread out over their roster that can perform at a high level, but I'm not too sure about that. I know Craig Berube really likes having that third line that's like kind of mean and plays to shut down teams' lines, and they're like sneaky and stuff like that. So I don't know how you would have, a guy like John Tavares on that line if he was to move down to third line center. But we're just going to take a look at the roster real quick, and I'm not saying this is what the roster is going to look like. I haven't played around with it yet, but I have added some things. And this is why I'm telling you guys there's a lot to work on here, because I put all of the guys in the lineup and I roughly estimated what a guy like Pacioretty and what a guy like Steven Lorentz could be making. And as you can see, if you bring up Minton, if you bring up Cowan, you have Robertson on the roster now, you have Hakanpää here, the Maple Leafs would have to shed a lot of money. And I'm not saying this is what their cap is going to look like, whatever. Again, people go in the comments before I even explain myself here. Just wait a minute. The Maple Leafs are obviously not going to have all of these guys on their roster. And what I think is actually going to happen is a few things. First, I don't think Steven Lorentz is going to end up getting a contract from the Maple Leafs. The only way that he does is if they trade Kampf or Holmberg, or they bury one of these guys in the minors. I think if they put Holmberg on waivers, he's going to end up getting claimed. So I don't think that that's going to end up happening. There's a lot of moves. There's a lot of moves that needs to happen. One of them is probably getting rid of Steven Lorentz and just deleting him from here because I don't think they're going to end up using him. I also think Fraser Minton is more than likely starting the season with the Toronto Marlies until the Maple Leafs make a decision on what they want to do in order to trade maybe a Kampf, or to trade a Järnkrok, or to trade potentially a Nick Robertson. And again, like I said, you can see this is just a rough estimate of what it would look like if they maximized Nylander at center, putting Domi back where he should be, playing with Austin Matthews, which people for some reason don't agree with. Max Domi played at his best with Austin Matthews. It was clear as day. They had unreal chemistry together. But again, you can see there's a lot of spots up for grabs here. I know the team really likes Connor Dewar, but he kind of seems like an odd man out in this situation, much like a Pontus Holmberg does, because I think the Leafs have to use David Kampf on that fourth line. I just don't see how they end up using Pontus Holmberg over David Kampf. So that, again, switches things up as well. Where do you put Max Pacioretty in this situation? Like, do you utilize him at right wing or somewhere where he's not really comfortable? Do you switch him with Bobby McMann and have him on the fourth line? Do you move Bobby McMann and Calle Järnkrok? Like, what do you do? Do you put Tavares back at second line center, Nylander back at the wing? There's so many things that you have to do, and you have to make a decision on Easton Cowan. Is he ready to play in the NHL full time? Is he ready to be a part of this team? The Leafs have a lot of work to do, and that's why I wouldn't shy away from the Leafs making another move here cap-wise in order to remove money. And I know people are instantly like, just get rid of Järnkrok and Kampf and it changes everything. You can't get rid of that type of depth. I still think Järnkrok has a lot of value. And I think David Kampf does has some defensive values that might not, make a lot of sense to get rid of. And like I said, you risk putting Pontus Holmberg on waivers and sending him down. That does help your cap situation a little bit, but it doesn't ease anything off. That would mean you would have to also try to bury Connor Dewar, which I don't know what the hell just happened there. Okay, we'll just do this. We'll try to bury Connor Dewar as well. And then the other option is obviously trading Connor Timmins, but for the sake of this video, we'll bury him in the minors as well. And even then, the Leafs still don't have enough money to make this roster work. So there's a lot of things that need to happen here. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of guys that potentially could get traded. There's guys that could end up on waivers. There's guys that could end up on the Marlies. There's a lot. There's still a lot going on here. And I don't know. It's fun, but at the same time, it's a little bit confusing because I want to see how Pacioretty does. I'm fully fine with them giving him a shot. Same thing with Steven Lorentz. But where? Where are these guys playing? Where's the money for this? So I want you guys to sound off in the comments. Who gets traded? Who makes this team? This is just the first iteration of this video. I'm going to try to make my own roster. I'm going to try to make some trades, and you guys can see if you agree with me. I'll try to craft my roster a little bit as well. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. God, my back is hurting. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.